So the Bitcoin halving might have happened yesterday, but the BlackRock flippening that is coming in a number of days is going to have a far bigger impact on the Bitcoin market, especially considering the Grayscale selling is grinding to a halt as they launch their Bitcoin mini trust. And I think entities like Mr. 100, who today is the 11th largest Bitcoin whale, they are going to become far more significant in this new era. So what is the BlackRock flippening? What am I talking about? Well, this was a chart that was on the thumbnail of today's video. And you can see we're looking at the second and the third largest bars on this chart now. So the purple, the second biggest bar on this chart is Grayscale. You can see they hold 300,000 Bitcoin, and the second biggest holder of Bitcoin in the world is IBIT. They hold 274,000 Bitcoin in this. We're going to call this lime green color. And in a number of days, IBIT is going to be bigger than Grayscale. And this is significant because right now, the GBTC Trust CEO, Michael Sonnenschein, just came out with a new announcement literally this week talking about the outflows and how he believes we have actually reached an equilibrium in the Bitcoin ETF market. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that, but I want to first show you this one chart before we dive into that article, because it really does put things into perspective about how IBIT is catching up to GBTC. Okay, so GBTC's lead has shrunk to $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Okay, it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things when you consider both funds are right now around $20 billion and $18 billion in size. Okay, very, very interesting. And you can see this tweet here summarized it nicely. We've seen 68 straight days of inflows for IBIT, and we've seen 68 straight days of outflows for GBTC, okay? So the flippening is coming, and it's especially interesting when we see this article that just dropped this week, okay? So the CEO of Grayscale thinks that these kind of flows have reached an equilibrium. So he says, short technical difficulties. So before I cut out there, I was just talking about how we've reached an equilibrium in the ETF market. So let me show you a little bit of a visualization of what I mean. McLovin says we're back. Thank you to everyone in the chat helping me rescue this live stream. Okay, so right now, when you have a look at the GBTC outflows, if you look at the month of April, we've actually seen more days with less than a $100 million outflow day than days above a $100 million outflow day, okay? So that's very different. If you have a look at the first few weeks, you were consistently seeing $400, $600, $300 million outflow days. Not anymore, not for the month of April. So this is a little bit about what the CEO of GBTC is saying, okay? He's saying that, look, a lot of the worst of the selling is done, and this is not just cheap talk. When you have a look at the data, this is true. But what's interesting is a lot of the excitement, even in the flows, is also kind of slowing down and decreasing, so to say. So this chart here shows you that there was an enormous amount of activity in, March, so to say. You saw massive amount of inflows, and now this is actually measuring the flows coming in from institutions into quote unquote crypto. Okay, so again, when this isn't necessarily measuring the inflows into Bitcoin, but I think it's a good proxy of just, what is institutional money doing? What is big money doing? What is actually happening in the space? So this chart is good to kind of visualize that, okay? And it was a pretty cool chart. There's another one as well that I wanted to show you guys. This is showing you something very similar. But let's start to kind of piece together a couple of more puzzle pieces, okay? So this article here that we released on our new website, by the way, we'd love to know what you guys think of the brand new Bitcoin News website. We launched this last week, and a lot of the good of the previous website we've maintained. So we'd love your thoughts on what you think of it. But you can see here, Bitcoin ETFs recorded 5 days of outflows before the halving. Okay, so again, we've kind of reached this equilibrium where there's just not a lot of large institutional interest right now in Bitcoin, and it kind of feels like Bitcoin's had this first big parabolic run in the space, and now it almost kind of feels like there's a lull. Everybody's waiting for what's going to happen next. We've had the halving last week, so maybe that is slowly going to create a little bit of a supply shock, and then we're going to see maybe the next parabolic run in Bitcoin. Again, nobody knows. But right now, the interest in Bitcoin's kind of died down, and that's kind of what you want to see. Okay, that is exactly what you want to see. Because as Dan M alludes to in his comment here, thanks for the comment, Dan, we're seeing the hash rate is continuing to increase parabolically, okay? This is, I believe, the indicators we should be looking at to determine what's happening in Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin healthy? Is it still producing blocks every 10 minutes? Yes. Are there still new people wanting to join the network and mine Bitcoin? Yes. Okay, so the network is very secure and it's still functioning as designed. Okay, I think price is the less interesting metric really to be looking at. So Dan M makes a great comment. Caught yesterday's video on the BTC hash rate showing implied death spiral debunked. Okay, so in yesterday's video, we did debunk the theory that Bitcoin's going to see this, Bitcoin mining death spiral. A few people are talking about that. So Dan says he was concerned about that. Thanks for clarifying. Still unclear on runes. I need to go to class on BTC 101. Okay, so that is, we haven't done a video specifically talking about the Bitcoin halving. I covered that yesterday on my personal channel. But the reason that Bitcoin fees are spiking so aggressively right now is due to this runes protocol launching on Bitcoin. So it launched on the day of the halving, block number 840,000. And you can see now transaction fees have come down a lot. They are right now at, let me zoom that in and zoom out my big mug. You can see there transaction fees are about $11. So it's going to cost you 122 Satoshi.